Hey! Welcome to the lifestyles of the interesting and infamous kitchen, again. Today we're going to be making 150-foot egg drop soup, in dedication of our friend Mike Carpenter, the owner of SkyDive New England. So, for our 150-foot egg drop soup recipe, we are going to be building off a mirepoix, which is onions, celery, and carrots. And off of that, we're going to throw some garlic in there, a couple herbs and spices, of course some eggs, because this is egg drop soup after all. To build on our flavors that we're going in there, we're going to throw in a bouillon. We're using some escarole, and as opposed to using breast meat off of chicken, we're going to be using thigh meat because it has more flavor, and that's what we want. We want a flavorful, delicious soup. And the star of the show, of course, is the eggs, but today we're going to be using rice noodles as well, as opposed to an egg noodle or pasta or couscous. But if you're using rice or rice noodles, that means that this actually is a gluten-free recipe. So if you have any gluten-free friends, or if you're gluten-free, this is the recipe for you. So let's get started. So now that we've got the pan all lubed up and over a low heat, the lowest setting that you can go to because we don't want to burn our vegetables, we're going to start off with our mirepoix by cutting up all of our vegetables. I'm going to show everybody on TV a technique. The easiest way to chop up an onion. So just so you know, I have a bowl set to the side just to get all my vegetables in there because we're going to be putting those all in at the same time. Just makes the life a whole lot easier. I'm definitely starting to cry because of these onions. So now we got our onions, and we're going to take our carrots, cut off the ends, throw those away. You can't see it, but my trash barrel's over there. I'm not just throwing food on the floor. I know this is a huge waste, but we're going to get rid of it. It smells so good. All right, now we're going to take the best pieces of celery that we can find that aren't gross. Taking all the ends of the garlic. We don't want that. And it's like the same thing that we did with the onions. We're just gonna score them. It's easier for us to cut. So now that we have our pan to temp, it's a medium-low heat, we're going to put our chicken thighs in with bone. It's got a lot of flavor in there, and we're going to put those in there and saute them up real quick just to brown them, get a little bit of flavor out of them. So now that our pan's ready, we're going to hope that this is going to sizzle. All right, so we got a little bit of brown golden color coming on them, so we're just going to flip them over because we don't necessarily have to have them cook all the way through this time because we're going to be putting them back in the pan once we have the soup all put together. And then we're going to add the mirepoix. So now this is all cooked down and reduced. It's going to cook down further, so don't worry if it's not cooked completely. And we're going to put our chicken back in. I have some hot water right here that I've been heating up. And our bouillons are in a heat-resistant cup. And we're going to put some hot water over those. So now we've got our bouillon and some hot water in a heat-resistant cup. And we got a good quality bouillon, and this has a lot of flavor in it because there's a lot of herbs and spices, so you might not have to add any extra, but feel free to if you need to. Pour this in here. And then we're gonna add some more hot water. Mix this up a little bit. Get everything rocking and rolling. So now we're getting our greens ready to put in the pot because we're gonna put them in almost last because we don't want them to disintegrate and have no texture. So now that the soup's almost ready, we're gonna put that in there. I'll mix that in for a little bit more nutrients. All right, so now for the star show, the egg. We're just gonna use the egg whites though. It's gonna give us delicious flavor, and you know, we're doing our 150-foot drop. All right, so for the last shot of this 150-foot egg drop soup, we're gonna take some of those rice noodles that we talked about earlier, put them in the bottom of your bowl, because these don't take a very long time to cook. So since we still have boiling hot soup, we're gonna pour it over this, and they're just gonna cook right away. So here's the fun part. Get a little bit of our escarole, our chicken, our mirepoix, delicious, the egg, it's all in there. Pour this, make sure you get enough broth to cover that rice noodle. There's our 150-foot egg drop soup in a bowl. All right, so I hope you try this recipe out, and remember, it's gluten-free. Don't let that scare you though. It just means that there's no wheat or any byproducts of wheat in there. So feel free to try this recipe out, and I hope you enjoy it. And remember, it was in dedication of our inspiration from Mike Carpenter of SkyDive New England. So please, everybody, feel free to try this, and I hope you have a deliciously interesting day.